Well, let's ask someone who knows about that. As we've been discussing all morning, travellers are facing even more rail misery this week as members of the Aslef union begin their first strike of the year today.
Thousands of trains are expected to be cancelled across the country today, with action only made worse by a 9-day ban on overtime, which began yesterday. This comes as it's revealed rail chiefs have been pocketing huge bonuses and pay rises despite failing to enforce new laws to minimise the impact of strikes.
Joining us now is the former RMT Assistant General Secretary, Steve Hedley. Thank you so much for coming in to speak to us. OK, right now, commuters, passengers. Nick doesn't know how he's going to get home. This isn't about Nick's travel. It's about people, though, who think the trains are unreliable again. Why are they going on strike, and have they made the right decision?
Well, they haven't had a pay rise in 5 years, and in that time, their wages have been reduced in real terms between a quarter and a third.
That much?
That much, yeah. They haven't had a pay rise in 5 years.
But they're still earning 60 grand.
We had hyperinflation during that period just after COVID. Yeah, you're right. They do earn a decent salary, and all working class people should earn a decent salary. And I think if you look at it, 60 grand now is like 40 grand before. That's a reality, because people have taken real terms pay cuts because they haven't had any pay rise in 5 years. No pay rise whatsoever in 5 years. And not only that, but the government have added insult to injury by saying that to get the paltry offer that is on the table, they have to take away terms and conditions which would destroy work-life balance. So there's been a deal done in Scotland and there's been a deal done in Wales, and I have a feeling that Richie Sunak, once they push forward these legislation, which even the bosses in the railways say would be an absolute disaster, the minimum services, he's trying to do that on the backs of these strikes, and I think it's going to backfire badly on him.
Can we get to the issue of the minimum service agreement and how practical that may or may not be in a second? But what is the nub of the dispute between the drivers and the train operating companies? Is it the change to terms and conditions? And if so, what are those changes that the drivers are so worried about?
So the changes to terms and conditions would mean longer shifts, shorter breaks, which will all have an implication on safety. By the way, you can read all about it in my book, Dairy Boy, shameless plug.
Yeah, that is shameless. Plug. Well done, Mike.
And you can see the history of the dispute and how, over the COVID period, train operating companies and rolling stock companies were given billions of pounds by the government, paid out hundreds of millions to their shareholders, and didn't give their workers who were working through COVID a penny. Didn't give them a penny pay rise.
So what you're saying is it's shorter breaks and longer working hours.
Longer working hours and changing their diagrams. People have a diagram which is based around safety, which is an agreed diagram, which has got the safety reps involved and the management safety department involved. And what they want to do is cut the breaks, make people work more hours. And the only thing that that's going to do is put more danger in the way of passengers. If they want to do that, then bring in more drivers. If they want to run more trains, Aslef are quite happy. All the unions are quite happy. They have more staff. They wouldn't have to work overtime then, and we could have a far safer system.
If the terms and conditions were renegotiated, would that stop the argument over pay?
Well, I think that there are two things. Terms and conditions is definitely the deal breaker just now. But when they're offering between 4% and 5%, and when people have had between a 25% and 30% pay cut, I think something needs to be done on pay as well. I mean, Aslef members have voted overwhelmingly on 90% turnouts. Over 80% of people have voted to keep this strike going. And it's been going 3 years now, so nearly 3 years.
Yeah, and it's had the effect of stopping people from getting to work in order to earn the living that they may need, which is often far less paid than the Aslef train drivers are getting. And so it's having the effect of stopping even poorer people from getting to work over a dispute over terms and conditions.
Well, what we need to do is unionise all those people and fight for better pay for all those people. It's not a race to the bottom. And
obviously it's not to run a minimum service of trains.
Well, the bosses have said, even the bosses in the railways have said, all you're going to do, if you make 40% of people work, I don't think they're going to come in anyway. No decent trade unionist will ever cross a picket line, even if their job's at stake, even if that gun's to their head, they won't cross a picket line. It'll be even more haphazard, and the strikes will go on for longer. Even the bosses in the railway industry realise that.
Are you nervous that pursuing this action means the general public who can't get to work, who may not be earning as much as £60,000 or £65,000 if you accept the latest pay offer the Aslef union, will say, I'm fed up of this, I'm not earning my wage because they're asking for one much greater than mine?
Well, look, I don't think any, public opinion matters, of course, but if it was public opinion, the nurses and the NHS workers would be on a massive wage and the politicians would be on minimum wage, I think. So public opinion matters, but it's never won a strike, it's never won a dispute. And working class people have to see that if they come for the train drivers, they'll come for you. If the train drivers get a better rise, you'll get a better rise. And that's how we have to work in solidarity, not picking each other apart.
Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being in here.
Steve's book, by the way, is called Derry Boy.